Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, mixed media artist, and this week is the finishing up of A Journey of a Painting. So I hope you've enjoyed part 1, 2, and 3, and also have enjoyed just going through this particular process. My process is always evolving as any artist who's growing and changing through abstract art does. And here you'll see that I've decided to cover up the upper left-hand corner of polka dots, but I'm planning to leave just a little bit there. I'm using these last pieces of collage paper, playing with the different hues of orange and yellow, also fixing that area down at the bottom across, which had a lot more blue in it. And I did decide to leave that long, tall blue line, vertical blue line with the blue planet or the blue circle, and a subtle blue line in the upper left-hand side. So as you can see, my hands are going, and I did plan to do a live. At this point, I just find it interrupts my process too much. I do plan on doing some lives, live narration for the video, and I seem to be explaining what I'm explaining to you right now as a voiceover. So, as you can see, I have a collage piece that I was playing with right there that I just lifted up, and I have a piece of orange. I found some text because I just was looking at it and I liked the words, and this thin little strip was perfect. So I wanted to continue this curvilinear or this arc shape, and I experimented with different colors, textures, and I really felt that it needed to be a solid black again for the repetition. As you can see, those multi horizontal lines I keep playing with. That wider piece of orange that I just trimming now will not end up in there because I put it there and I'm trimming it just to see, without any distractions, what it would look like. It's too wide. It's too much the same orange. It's the same kind of collage paper. And right now, this is the Hansa yellow medium, Hansa yellow medium and golden. And I know when I move up that piece of collage paper in the upper left-hand corner and reveal a little bit of that yellow that I really, really liked, which I covered up previously, and I'm putting it back in now. And it needs to be more yellow, less orange, and to sort of in threes put that throughout the painting in different areas. I like to spread them out triangular, just to balance it. So we'll have a yellow in the upper left, diagonally, directly across in the lower right, and then at the end I decide to put a little bit of yellow in that in those orange circles in that rectangular orange area with all the texture in little small dots, and it really helps the eye go up and over and go all around the painting. So I'm really liking how I'm guiding the viewer's eye in the end. So stay to the end and see. I thought I was done this video, this stage, but then I thought, I just watched a couple more of my mentor artists' videos in finishing paintings, and I sat with this a little bit longer and looked at it more carefully. What does it have? What are the differences? What isn't there? What do I have a lot of? What's really working? What do I like? And I really think I've done the best I can at this point with this piece. And whatever I learn, you take with you, I will take with me on to the next abstract. And I have 2 more 12 by 12s on panel, like I said previously, that I started for another workshop, but then got busy and just let them sit. So rather than letting them sit, I'm painting them over and using the process of when something's really too busy, add some more, go through that first stage of play, and because it's the only way you're going to get these multitude of interesting layers underneath, and knowing where you are and your different stages of your process. So if you didn't notice in the previous videos, this orange vertical rectangle with the circles, and it's cardstock and I don't know, some kind of fabric, or it could be just like a burlap that I've cut and glued down. And I've just sort of did it sporadically around right at the beginning of this workshop, and then covered everything with gesso. So it was just texture areas, and you can treat them, you can use them, or just veil them and cover them. So I'm thinking that I want to lighten it up just to emulate this Titan buff, or what's this one called? Anyway, neutral, and around this small blue circle. And I'm noticing as I lighten it up, take it to more of a solid opaque, it's that blue circle is showing some more. And you can see I keep removing that piece, and then finally decide, I don't want to totally cover up, and then it's just perfect. It's a torn, it's a rough, soft edge that contrasts with all these hard edges, and there's a little bit of solid circles showing with a little bit of that yellow. And I like the curvilinear part, but so right here, I'm not ready to give up the ghost yet. And I just wanted to see, okay, if I just push that back a little with black, but no, this piece does it. It just takes away all the busyness and guides that eye over and around that circle, which I do decide to put that black piece, which is just resting in there now. It isn't glued down, that collage, that black circle, and which is similar to the piece I'm gluing down in this upper left-hand corner and covering up all those dots. It was just too strong of a pattern. And I really like the dark angle resting, almost like a moon crest, but in opposite. Instead of white, it's black. And this is, of course, again, the heavy gloss gel. And I've got to get myself, I know I have some, just the soft gel for thinner paper, and I want to see the difference. Leave a comment and let me know what different mediums you use for your collage. Are you using, what brands work the best in your opinion? What density, soft, the soft gel, heavy gel? I've used Mod Podge. I used to use Mod Podge when I first started, and that was pretty cool too, because, but I know my style has changed as I discover the wonders of abstract art. I just absolutely love it. Now that blue line, I would never have planned that blue line. It's like a tall triangle. And I think if I removed it, of course, the contrast to that curvilinear, that arc would be too sudden. And just that little bit of blue helps the orange be more orange. So, knowing the color wheel and all of that. So I just figured, oh, it just has to stay. And I know in the two previous pieces, the two abstracts that I did on heavy watercolor paper together, I had a little bit of blue. So I'm really loving these color combinations. And let's see. So you'll see just those different papers that I'm collecting. I cut them in thick. This is a really thick orange one, and it has a nice texture on it. So I'm covering the bottom with more of a, less orange, more of a mustardy ochre color. And then after that dries, I do decide to put in 4 rectangular, narrow rectangular shapes that go across, that help move the eye across from right to left. So I also need to go find some other old books. And there's certain fonts that I like, and it's the old ones. So I'm really liking that. Sometimes I put in text, and so I'm just trimming that off. And I love it when it's out of context, and it just gives the viewer something to think about, something more. So I decided that was a little strong, and let's see what I decide to do with this long, skinny orange piece. I don't know if I put it in or if it's very distractive. I think it's a little overpowering. And then I just lift it off and compare. And then I go, okay, I was thinking, okay, no, that isn't going to work. But it's just nice to play around, just to see where this energy says yes, no, and you just know. It's nice to learn why, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm just playing around, so thank goodness I just ditch it somewhere. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. Yes, that's it. And that's the little piece. It was too repetitive. It just needed something else with the 3 light-shaped, light-colored lines, horizontal lines. And it was different enough because it was narrow enough. Then, of course, my stars. I love my stars. I have to put those. They just had to be there. And I continue with those horizontal lines across. Yeah, for some reason this shape turned up. And I'm just playing around with it. I really like, it's a really nice thick black, like a cardstock or handmade paper of some kind. So what am I doing now? So I'm playing with some dots. I don't mind the black. I find they're a little distractive because of the high contrast. So then I change my mind in a few minutes. And that isn't bad, but vertical is not going to work. So I realize just a nice subtle line because you just barely see it. And then I get rid of the vertical lines. And then as I'm noticing, I'm rubbing some of that Titan buff off, and it's looking more interesting. Filling it in, so I've decided to, cover those a little bit. They're just too in your face, those black dots. And I do get rid of them, and I noticed that some of the blue wore off, so I'm using the Posca marker. Getting a nice blue in the Posca markers, and here's another one. Let us know in the comments, what other markers have you tried? And I've been on Amazon, and wow, some of them are really expensive. You have the Temper Sticks, you have the Sakura, which are amazing, but if you want to get a set with, I think it's 12 different colors, I know it's almost $90 for a set of markers. So I'm going, wow. Maybe one day soon as a treat, we'll see. So then I realized too that, well, I don't have any dots here because I know I'm going to cover those black dots that I just put there with a deeper orange, and they really add that subtlety to that area. So I think that's what I might be thinking of. So I'm just continuing fixing up those lines that I really liked that I ended up covering up, just continuing all of this line work through this piece, which is just subtle, but I really like it. And going off the page, going off your surface in different ways, big ways, little ways. So I think I'm just fixing up the black here, being careful not to have too hard of an edge so there's too much of a contrast, but it was too messy. Now that it's cleaned up, the eye moves along there quite nicely, and I'm liking that. So we are starting to really come to the end. So after I let it sit, this is the second, the last stage of the last phase. And I discovered this little piece. This is just, never throw away your little pieces of collage. It just was perfect. It was just sitting there. I don't remember how it got there, but as you can see, it is the same collage piece from the one just above it to the left. And of course, it's newsprint rolled out from leftover paint from whatever palette I was working on with my brayer. And I think what I want to do in the future is roll out a whole bunch of newsprint pages, but then go back over them again with maybe my China marker, add some line or dots or, just one more layer so that I can have empty ones, plain sort of semi-solid ones, and patterned ones. So I'm just getting the possibilities, and I'm just putting a tiny amount after realizing that I may or may not use these colors. As you can see, the black dots above the curvilinear black shape have been turned into orange, and I really like the subtlety of the black. And then I end up covering up the orange dots that are in that neutral, very light neutral area. It was too busy, too distracting, and it definitely, as I can see the piece in front of me here and compare it to what I'm viewing, it definitely better, definitely made an improvement. So at the end of a piece, there definitely needs some quiet areas. So you really, they'll tell you these areas. It's like, oh, it's just too loud. And as soon as you quiet an area down, another area just pops up and just becomes more predominant. And especially an area that you really, really like, it just shows up more. So that was the spot that I feel, some of you may disagree, but this is, this is my process, my work. I wanted a really nice opaque area. So then I sort of get carried away and start using that area. And as soon as I put that little dot down, it said, It's not even the right tone, so it needed a little more yellow oxide. And I begin to fill it in a little bit, but then I sort of dab that away with a cloth and realize that, well, it's okay. I think just the one area would have been better, but then I realize, nah, so we'll just dab that away. And then I realize that those orange dots covered up look much better and it becomes more quiet. So that is looking much better. And if you and of course it went over to the blue a little bit, but I can fix that. And just with a cloth or a little bit of blue paint or a blue marker. And I realized I cleaned up the edge, and then I used my little tool. And so I decide, nope, that's not looking good. I let it dry, and then I go back over that same curved line with my white china marker. So leave well enough alone, Michelle, and that's what I decided to do. Seeing if just that little edge should be a little straighter. And I notice while I'm looking at it right here, it really could use a touch of cleaning up, just a little bit. So I will take care of that after it sits some more. But I don't plan on touching it at all. We are done. So if you look at the piece, so there's areas of black, and I noticed that piece of collage really needed to be pushed behind. So now the eye goes whoop and right over. And I'm just sort of scratching out some of that real nice opaque. So I'm putting opaque in as a difference to that very transparent white that's just below it. And I'm just trying to get that perfect. It was a combination of white and that Titan buff or titanium. There it is. Much, much better. And just perfect. Perfect. Yes. I really like that. And there's definitely areas of neutral all around the painting. We've got the curvy linear. We've got black in many different sizes, but still using black. So this is the heavy gel gloss that I use. And I'm just putting in that little piece that just echoes, repeats. So if something's really working, do some more. But of course, in a different way. If I put another black piece in there, it wouldn't have worked. Plus you have that sort of black splotch or circle-ish on the collage paper behind it. And I think that's why that fits in there, because it sort of also has a curve to it. So I noticed the eye really, it was too yellow up there. I needed to continue with some of that orange. So I know I just wanted a line. I didn't want any more paint. And I'm noticing, yes, just cleaning that up a bit. And I'm looking, it could use a little more cleaning up. There seems to be some sort of rectangular shape or shadow, but maybe I'll leave it. I'll know in the next few days if I like it or not. So as we come to the finish, the final finishing line of this piece, and I have yet to title it, coming in with some white china, marker, lines, subtlety, just adding those, fixing that one. And as I run out of things to do, this is it. So I hope you've enjoyed this series, and you stay to the end, of course, and like and subscribe. And here's the last little bit. A little bit of orange and yellow oxide, just to perk up that area. And the painting that would never finish. And I realized, nope, too much orange, so it really just needs to be neutral. And I might even lighten it a little bit. But since I lightened that to bring out the texture, because there's not a real textury piece in this, and it just needed subtle, not a high contrast at all. So I'm just brushing the top of that texture. And it's soft, so it's really bringing the eye over, up. As you can see, the yellow dots are going, curving upward. And let's see. Oh, yes. Much better that those are covered. Quieted down. They were a distraction. And just cleaning up. Going in just slightly lighter. And that's probably where the lines or the graphite in it. But I really like the effect that it created. And now the blue just shows up a little bit more without interfering with the composition, of course. And yes. Okay. So, again, I hope you've enjoyed this 4-part series of a painting, a journey of a painting. Stick around for some more. And then after that, I'm going to jump into some larger work. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.